someone a little bit more credible, but actually I've published a book, Flying Fingers, at the age of 7, and most recently I also published a book called Dancing Fingers. It's a collection of poetry with my older sister Adriana, and then we have an advanced copy of my 3rd book, Young in Disguise. So those are some of the projects I've been working on. But aside from writing, I really enjoy learning about education and talking to teachers and students. So I teach writing about every day during the school year through video conferencing, distance learning, and I also do professional development with teachers like you. So today I'm here to provide that kid's eye view of an innovative classroom. And so far I've taught over 300 schools and classrooms around the world. Distance learning is really powerful in that it allows me to connect globally. I've been featured on Oprah, CNN's Young People Rock, NBC Nightly News, and lots of other programs. And I offer over 30 different programs through distance learning that feature live writing demonstrations, interactive activities, and storytelling. My social studies workshops teach kids and teachers how to use writing as a creative learning tool across disciplines. I provide kids with a tangible and exciting example of where writing can take them in my presentations. Currently, I'm using new technology to reach places as diverse as Costa Rica, Dubai, and Canada. Those are a few countries I've reached recently. The United Arab Emirates is the country. And all my presentations center around a common goal: to show kids that writing is fun, empowering, and exciting. And while my next slide is loading, then I would like to ask some of you what kinds of technology you use in your classroom. Does anyone want to volunteer?
GarageBand.
GarageBand! Oh, very interesting. It's funny, actually my mom has a Mac, and I remember in the first days of getting it, because we're mostly PC people, it's only one Mac in the house, and so we are always experimenting. My sister takes a ton of photos on Photo Booth, and then I was like, thinking, oh, what's GarageBand? And I opened it up, and personally I'm not so much of a music person, but my sister plays piano and violin, and she might be kind of interested in GarageBand. Okay, any other technologies you use in your classrooms?
iPods.
iPods! Oh, very interesting. Yeah, my mom actually has an iPod which she has promised to bequeath to me. So far I have not received it yet because she upgraded to an iPhone, and yeah, I'm still waiting for that iPhone. Oh well, at least my older sister, is asking for an iPhone, so I think I'm not quite as greedy. Any other technology?
Flip cameras.
Flip cameras?
Flip cameras! Oh, that's so funny. I'm actually recording with a flip camera right now. And yeah, I would actually take it off the tripod and show it to you, except it's currently recording. Yeah, so I actually use a flip camera myself, and all of these, yeah, and I wonder if anybody is going to say video conferencing because I'm using that right now. It's another thing I could say. Yeah, so these technologies are all great examples of what we can do in our classrooms to get kids excited and really involved in the learning process. Any other technologies you'd like to share?
The interactive board.
Interactive boards, yes, another thing I'm using. You guys are just going to list all the things I have around me right now. So I'm using an active board right now, and I enjoy using interactive boards because I think that one thing, it really gets students involved in the learning process. When a student is able to come up to the board and move things around and really do that, then they're being more of a participant, and they really get to have some more control. And then another thing is using kind of voting systems can be fun. I experiment with those, and so those are just a couple of ways that we can use technology in our classrooms to make learning relevant to kids. And I enjoy customizing my presentations because I know that all students are different, so I might customize my descriptive writing presentation to higher grades or low grades, etc. And I welcome any advanced info about that kind of thing. Today I'm here to give you a kid's eye view of an innovative classroom, and I'll be talking to you from the perspective of a student and of a teacher. Oops, just dropped my pen, sorry. Learning. So you might wonder why I have this big firework visual behind here. Now, other than the fact that this looks really cool, which was my primary reason, then I had to come up with something more educational. So basically my idea is that learning is kind of like a huge firework. It's exciting, and at the center there might be a kind of central thing that ties everything together, and then it expands in many different colors in many different ways. So learning is kind of like that. We have different subjects that can be used across the curriculum. So I think that writing, personally for me, is something that's really powerful across the curriculums. And then technology also helps tie different curriculums together. So really, learning is a huge firework in that it's exciting and that it's really important to kids. I think that as a kid, I really enjoy fireworks, so it's enjoyable. And so when we are able to make learning, like a firework, enjoyable and also tied together by a central idea, like in here, then we make it really relevant to the kid. To teach, I first think about what is interesting to me as a learner. So that might be fireworks. What makes learning special for me? Okay, waiting for the slide to load. And so I think that the primary thing is to excite kids using strategies like make-believe and gross and weird stuff. That's probably one of my favorites. Fun visuals, multimedia, control. So when I talk about things like make-believe, especially with younger students, storytelling can be really powerful. When I'm able to really incorporate their ideas into a story and tell that in real time, it gets them excited and it makes them feel like they're really involved in that process. Gross and weird stuff, you know, some of your students may not admit it, but gross and weird stuff has a really huge potential to get kids interested. Believe me, I know that. So fun visuals is another one. Like here, these are pretty simple. I have some stars that can pull up, but also more specifically, you might have some really cool pictures of different things you're talking about. Like here's I think that's a guinea pig, two goats and a dinosaur eye and a skull. So here are some examples of fun visuals. And just scatter these throughout your lessons and it makes it more interesting. And multimedia, videos, sounds are really powerful. So for instance, using GarageBand to create a soundtrack for a lesson might be a really fun idea. Having kids help you do that is another one. Maybe digital storytelling, using multimedia and video, making a big class video about some of your latest projects. Those are just a few ways you can use multimedia. And finally, and probably the most important, is control. And I think that kids, you know, we're kind of disenfranchised in a lot of ways. We can't drive, we can't, let's see, what else can we do? We can't vote, we can't drink. That one's not so important, actually, forget that one. But in many ways, we kids don't really have a lot of control. And I think that learning is one of those ways, and one of those areas that we really should have control in, because it's one that will really shape our future. And so when you use like interactive whiteboards, you have students get involved in making a class video, then that's really giving them control in the learning process. I like being able to use what I learn. I'm personally a practical person, but I think that most kids are going to ask, why am I doing this anyway? And so with that attitude in mind, then you want to come up with some reasons why kids are doing it that will make the learning relevant. Facts seem more relevant to me when I incorporate them into a creative project. I find it easier to process new information if I'm reading for inspiration or looking for ideas to include in stories, poems, or maybe blog entries. If I have a creative project in mind when I read, I have a greater sense of purpose. Instead of reading something because my teacher told me to read it, I'm looking for information that will be useful for my purposes, details or ideas that I can incorporate into my project. And clear purposes motivate students. Sometimes I wonder when I'm learning about different things, why exactly am I doing this? So knowing the answer to that question is a big motivation point for me. Classroom tool number 1. Give students access to create their own blogs to showcase what they've learned. Or you could have a big group class blog. And there are many reasons why I think blogs can be handy. It allows students to reach higher levels of Bloom's taxonomy, like synthesis and evaluation, when they're creating stories, editorials, etc. So blogs can be a really good learning center for students to really bring everything together. Do we have teachers here who have class blogs?
Yes.
Okay, you can raise your hand if you do.
I've one started. I think a lot of them are looking at it for this year.
Okay, great. So we have some teachers looking at blogs as a possible learning tool. And I think that blogs are